Hi guys, it's Mrs. Edwards again. So this will be our third story using our resurrection eggs. So this is also a good memory game. So let's try to remember what the eggs have taught us so far. So the first egg was the blue, and it was the donkey. Do you remember? This was the donkey, and that's because Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey, and everybody was so happy to see him. If you remember that part, that was Palm Sunday. That was the palm branches. And then when we were reading our story, the next egg was about the pink egg. And inside, do you remember what it was? Listen, that's a little bit of a hint. It was some money. And if you remember, Benjamin overheard some people talking that one of Jesus's friends was going to take a bribe, meaning somebody was going to pay his friend to do something mean to Jesus and give him money for it. And he bumped into this man named Judas, and Benjamin thinks he's a nice person because the man Judas said he would take care of it. But I told you to keep that in mind, because Judas may not be exactly who we think he is. So that was what the money one was. And then there was a special dinner. Remember, Benjamin got to help at his special dinner that Jesus was at. And at the end of that dinner, something that was in the purple egg came up, and it was that special looking cup that he took with him. And that was supposed to remind us about what's called the Last Supper that Jesus had with his friends. And that's what that cup represents. So now we're going to look at 2 more eggs today. All right. Now I'm going to let you guys know the story does start getting a little sad. All right. But just remember that even though it's sad now in our story, I can promise you that it will be a good ending. But kind of like we have talked about before, sometimes when you go through hard times or sad times, you just have to hang on, because usually some good thing will come out of it. All right. So just remember that as we look at our story today. All right. So the next one, here's our story. This is after the dinner that Benjamin helped at, okay? Later, Jesus and his friends left to pray. Benjamin wanted to pray too. He followed at a distance, watching as they finally stopped in a garden. Benjamin sat beneath an olive tree and broke off a branch. He couldn't hear Jesus, but he knew he was praying. And if you can see in my picture here, Jesus is on his knees, and his friends are asleep, unfortunately. So he was kind of feeling alone, but he was putting his hands up in the air, and he was really looking up at heaven to God and asking him for help. So he definitely is praying very hard right now. And Benjamin prayed too, and as he prayed, he rubbed the stick between his hands, but before long his eyes grew heavy and he fell asleep. Loud yelling startled Benjamin. He leaped up in time to see soldiers taking Jesus away. "Stop," he said. "You can't take him. He hasn't done anything wrong." "Shh," said one of Jesus's friends, holding him back. "What's wrong?" said Benjamin. "Why are they taking him?" "They want to question him." Benjamin pulled away. "Why didn't you stop them?" But the man just shook his head and walked away. All Jesus's friends were gone now. Benjamin saw the smooth branch in his hand. "Dear God, please take care of my friend Jesus." He prayed as he walked. So our next egg is an orange egg. Let's see what's in the orange egg. The orange egg is a hand, and if you do it this way, it looks like they're doing this. Friends, what does this look like in real life? We do this a lot when we're in our Zoom calls together. This is praying. Okay, some people do this, some people do this, but these hands in the egg are to remind us of how much Jesus was praying that night in what was called the Garden of Gethsemane. and he was praying really, really, really hard. And Benjamin wanted to pray for him too. So that's why the egg has praying hands in it. Let's see what happens next, okay? Benjamin, did you hear the news? Asked his friend Eli the next morning. They've put Jesus in jail. Everyone says that Judas Iscariot got money to betray him. Boys and girls, do you remember? Judas was the one that gave Benjamin that coin in the beginning, and Benjamin thought he was a nice person, but he wasn't. He was not a good friend to Jesus, so that was really sad. Benjamin gasped. He had told Judas about the bribe and thought it was his fault. He said goodbye to Eli and wandered through the city. What could he do? Was there any way to help? Sounds of shouting made him stop, and he turned to see an angry crowd. And friends, you know what's so odd about this is very much these people were the same people that waved branches for Jesus when he came into Jerusalem, when they were so glad to see him. And now they weren't being nice to him. So that was very confusing. Jesus deserves to be hurt, said an old man, because he said he was God's son. And Jesus was telling the truth, guys, but those people didn't want to hear that. He should be hurt, said another one. What's going on? Did they hurt Jesus? What do you know about Jesus? Said the old man, and they looked at Benjamin with angry eyes. Nothing, he said. He looked down at the ground, and he saw a piece of leather. He picked it up, and he tucked it into his tunic, which was like his shirt, and went away. Why would anyone hurt Jesus? Okay, friends, so this is our other egg. It's the green egg. And the green egg has, a leather strip. What could this be for? This actually represents the fact that Jesus got hurt. All right. And when people were being mean to him, this is what that leather piece represents. Sometimes if you do something like this with something that's hard, like a piece of fabric or something, it can sting a little bit. It can hurt when it hits your skin. And this is kind of something that could have hurt Jesus when in that Easter story. So that's why that's supposed to remind us that people were starting to be very mean to him. And that was a sad time during Easter week. So that's where our story is today. And I know we're ending on kind of a hard part of our story, but I want you to remember that there's a reason for all these things we're learning, okay? And so tomorrow, when I hopefully see you, we will go into 2 more eggs. And you know what? I'll tell you the colors now. That's kind of exciting. So we have the next one we're going to open is, let me see, light yellow. And then we're going to look at dark yellow. All right, so we will see what those eggs have in store for us when I see you again. Love you lots. Bye-bye.